You're good.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for inviting me to the meeting. We are, as you know, a long-time partner within the community. I have both Edgewater Village Shopping Center and Joppatown Plaza. I've been with the owners, this is my 46th year. So I know a lot of the history, and started at Edgewood as a very young man. So, but I'm always asked to come to these community meetings, and what everybody is hungry for is exact details on what we're doing leasing wise. The gentleman right here and I have been talking a lot about it, and what I told him is, I said, unfortunately, with the day's market and working with especially national retailers, the first thing they do is they ask us to agree to confidentiality. So I can give you some broad ideas about some of the tenants that we're talking to, but I can't name names and I can't tell you when, they may or may not sign a lease. I'd like to start off by talking about Joppatown. It's interesting. This is the third year that what we now call Joppa Grand Market has been in operation. That was the Joppatown Flea Market. It had declared bankruptcy. They were going to pack up and move out. And I was asked to go in, take the facility over, rebrand it, and try to make it, a viable part of the retail industry in the area. I think we're starting to show some success. We've done a tremendous amount. The facility itself had been very much neglected by the previous tenant. We formed this corporation that we call Joppa Grand Market and decided that we were going to keep the Amish in place, try to create a concept that we have other places around the nation that are more or less like an incubator type concept. Most of our incubator concepts have to do with small businesses, tech industry. We decided to try it with retail. And I've got a couple of success stories out of Joppa Grand Market already where some of them have moved on to their own brick and mortar stores. And I've got a couple in there right now that are talking about taking brick and mortar stores. So that's what we were hoping the incubator space would do. And, and that creates the new small businesses, and we all know the small businesses are the backbone of this country. It creates new upstart small businesses, and if we can move them from Joppa Grand Market into a brick and mortar store, whether it's one of our shopping centers, which we have numerous ones of, or even another one, or in the case of one very successful young man who had the guitar facility there where he not only gave lessons but repaired guitars. He moved through 3 different spaces at Joppa Grand Market and now has actually bought his own building and has become very successful. So that's what we were hoping to accomplish. Now, we've only done that with a few, but in our eyes, the concept of an incubator space, especially in a location like that, is relatively new in the nation. We're very successful with incubator spaces with, like I said, businesses and tech, especially the tech industry. We have a whole concept in the nation called Sparks. And Sparks has become very successful, and we have Sparks in 4 different states now. The one in downtown Baltimore is extremely successful. And a lot of those people have moved, their businesses increase, it gives them an opportunity to get started someplace, and then they move on. So that's what we've been trying to do. I mean, a lot of people still look at Joppa Grand Market as a flea market, and that's just as much my fault as anybody's because, as people came in and knocked on the door and said that they wanted to set up, they wanted to rent tables, I said, well, that's fine. Until we fill the place up with incubator spaces, I'm going to accommodate the flea market people. I don't know if any of you have been in there, but over the last 3 years, we took it from what I consider to be dark and dingy to well lit, completely heated and air conditioned, much cleaner than it ever was. We've expanded the Amish some. We're looking at whatever we can do to work with them to make them even better and be able to, provide even, better services to people. And, MCW Wrestling was there. They were going to move. They thought it was the end of the line for them. And I had no idea who they were and what they did. And I suddenly realized that they're like the farm team for wrestling. They are actually great friends with the Khan family, which owns one of the largest, wrestling businesses in the United States. The Khans I didn't realize what kind of business it was until I found out that the Khans bought the one that they owned for $2.5 billion. So it suddenly opened up my eyes and I thought, well, there must be something to this industry. And what MCW Wrestling is it's a training ground for young people that want to get into wrestling. And they already have a long list of success stories where these young people have started there and they've moved on as professional wrestlers and are doing quite well for themselves. We've asked them to have more and more events, and they're starting to have more and more. I've gone to them myself to see what they're like, and I've seen them where they've had as little as 200 or 300 people, and as much as one time they had almost 800 people. That's a lot and most of those people are local, and their families. It amazes me. One of the things that I discovered about them, and I asked them to expand it, is they have parties for kids and adults, and the kids just love it. And the young wrestlers interact with the kids, and it's a great experience for them. So we're talking to them about expanding their operation. I would like to see them become an arena. We're working with them, to see what they can do to actually expand their facility. With regards to some of the vacancies I have at Joppatown right now, especially in the strip building where Dollar Tree is, I've got 3 prospective uses for that building, 2 of which are coming out of Joppa Grand Market itself. As I said, most of these, as we work towards getting a lease finalized, we keep most of it very confidential. I mean, there's lots of reasons. Some self-serving. It's to keep the competition from swooping in and trying to take somebody away from us. Some of it is where, especially a national tenant, they don't want their competition to know they're coming into an area. They don't want, the decision, to be scrutinized with people until they actually look at it financially. So I'm not working with any nationals right now at Joppatown, but I have engaged an architect for Joppatown who is looking at, I've asked him to come up with a design so we can refresh and remodel what I call the fascias, the fronts of the buildings, enhance the entrances. And he has also got a landscape architect within his firm, so they're looking at what we can do to enhance the landscaping at the property. A lot of these same things are happening at Edgewood. Probably the biggest question I get from everybody is what's happening with Big Lots. We don't really know. From our perspective, they have given us notices that they were leaving. They've given us notices that they were staying. They gave us another notice that they were leaving. And now just recently, I understand that we've gotten a notice saying, no, we're going to stick around for a while. So that is very typical of what happens when big corporations are in bankruptcy. They're looking for investors. They're looking, there's been rumors, whether it came out of Wall Street or any place else where there were some major investors that were looking at, buying into the Big Lots concept. I think it's a good concept, and it's one that fits well, especially in various communities where we have them. So we're trying to keep them there. Unfortunately, from my perspective, when they first told me that they were absolutely positively leaving, we started engaging some other national tenants, had a couple of them extremely interested because it's a large building. There's only a few national retailers right now that are expanding. Even the ones like Walmart, which I've built 14 Walmarts in the United States in my career, and I haven't built a new Walmart in the last 8 years. Even Walmart slowed down. People ask us what's wrong with the retail industry, and I tell them Amazon. It's very simple. People like buying online, and what we're doing, Cordis Company's been around a long time, and we have lots of shopping centers. We have lots of other things in the industry. I always teach people when I meet them for the first time, somewhere, somehow, just about everybody I meet has either been wined, dined, entertained, or bought something via a Cordis entity. We are one of the largest retail mixed-use developers in the United States. Some people, more recently, know us only as this big mega casino corporation, because we are, Cordis is literally the largest non-publicly traded casino owner in the nation. What does all that mean? Well, unfortunately, we have a philosophy that every shopping center, every development, every property we have has to stand on its own. We don't let Peter pay for Paul. It just doesn't happen. And it's worked. We're very successful, so it's worked for us. Going back to Big Lots, I've asked the two national retailers that we were talking to. Both of them are retail/service-oriented type businesses. I've asked both of them to stay engaged with us. They're willing to, but just like everybody else, and most people don't think of this, but everybody in the retail industry, especially the big ones right now, especially the ones that do a lot of imports, they've all put their expansions on hold while they're looking at what's actually going to happen. We predict that it's going to be good. We think it's going to be good. It's going to take a little while for it to adjust itself, but I think it's going to be good. And some of the major retailers that we deal with, agree with us. I'm being very vague, but that's what my job is. And I've been doing it well for all these years. I've been taught well to be vague about the actual tenants. But I'm here to tell you that, Cordis is not going anywhere with any of these properties. Edgewood is literally the first property that David Cordis, who still works as the chairman of the Cordis Company, ever owned. That was literally, Edgewood is where the Cordis Company started. Okay? He was, just to make it a quick story, and cut me off if I take up too much of everybody's time.
I'll cut you off, John, I got you.
Okay.
All
right.
20 minutes, you're down to 6 left.
Okay. So he started there, and it's been successful ever since. People have come to him over the years about buying Edgewood or him selling Edgewood. Me being the 8th employee that David Cordis ever hired, now that we have 25,000, I find myself in his office a lot. And he always asks me, well, should I sell it? And I go, you want me to tell you from a business perspective, or you want me to tell you what's in your heart? And he goes, you know me too well. He says, I don't want to sell Edgewood. It's where I started. Nobody wants to give away that where they start. So, and Joppatown, I was literally the one that went in, and when we decided to buy Joppatown, I was the one that went in and took it over. I was the one that built the Kmart that was there. So 35 years ago, I built that Kmart. I built that one, I built one on Kent Island at the same time. We tried, when it went dark, and we thought it was, they declared bankruptcy, I reached out to every major retailer in the United States, and I couldn't get anybody to look at it. I managed to flip the Kmart that went dark on Kent Island to Target. I begged and begged and begged and even tried to tie the two deals together. Target absolutely refused. We think what we're doing right now with the old Kmart is working. The other thing that we've done is I've created a relationship with Raj from Economic Development in Harford County. Him and I probably talk twice a week, at least. I have a meeting with him on Thursday, and we're looking at various entities, especially ones that are within the service industry. We have 3 nonprofits that have asked me to work with them at Edgewood. I think all 3 of them would work well in the community. We have to work with them to see what they can do. We're trying to help them figure out how to do funding because, you know, we're pretty well connected, so, you know, we can point them in the direction. Yeah, you know, when I talk about service industries, one of the other things that we're trying to do at various properties around the country is I've engaged early learning and child centers. Everything from, you know, the mom and pop businesses or ones that are within like a religious institution and they want to expand, to the big ones that you know by name like Celebrate. We've reached out to all of them. We've sent them information on everything, including Edgewood. And I think ideally, I mean, you know, I'll let a little bit of the cat out of the bag. I think if I can have my way, I'll put an early learning child care center in what used to be the old Goodwill. I think it would fit well. I think it would be great for the community. And you know, it's something that we do. I would like the one in Edgewood to be one of the nationals. Nothing against any of the ma and pa. Most of them aren't ready to take over a 16,000 square foot building. Somebody like Celebrate and some of the other big nationals, they're capable of doing it. And they'll provide services, everything from preschool all the way to after school. You know, I visited one of their facilities in Carroll County recently, and they have 2 buildings, one that houses their early learning and their child care, and then they have a space right next door that when I showed up late in the day, it was full of high school kids. So it's good. You know, when you can provide, just to back up a little bit, in Edgewood years ago, before there was a PAL center, before there was a police center up, I think it's back in near the food line or something like that, where they provide youth services. I gave a storefront to Harford County Sheriff, State Police, to use as a PAL center. It's a police athletic league, we used to call it back in those days. And I was amazed at how many latchkey, what I call latchkey kids, showed up at the end of school every day. And that's a really important service to provide. So we lost them, just like at one time, this same sheriff's department, you know, was right up at behind the old 7-Eleven in the small building up there. So, you know, things expand, things become better, bigger and better. And but, you know, what I'd like to offer to each and every one of you, I'll have a whole pocket full of business cards that I can hand out, I welcome ideas. I get my best ideas from the communities that we serve. And I call it my retail division. David always says there's one guy in the room that thinks he owns all the shopping centers and another guy in the room that does own all the shopping centers. I'm the one that thinks he owns them all. You know, and David likes that. He likes that, you know, me being possessive of them. But I've gotten some of my best ideas out of community meetings where people come to me, either email me or come to me and say, why don't you think about putting so-and-so in there? Raj from Economic Development has been very helpful. He's pointed me in a lot of directions. We've reached out to a lot of people, so those connections I think will work well. Jumping back down to Joppatown, you all know that when I took over the shopping center and I got rid of Epstein's and I knocked down the movie theater, which made me public enemy number 1 in Joppatown when I did that, you know, I ended up with this 2-story building that has floundered over the years and it's in terrible shape. We're working it right now. We only have 1 tenant left in that building. I'd like to possibly either relocate that tenant within the center or, you know, what I'm looking at with the architect is how can we repurpose this building? We have a footprint, it's there. We very seldom ever knock down a building and get rid of it. And if we do, we always go into the local jurisdiction and say, we want to be grandfathered. We always say, if you want us to knock down this eyesore, give me a letter saying that I can put something back in, at least in the same footprint. One of the things we're doing right now is I have 2 footprints. My time's up. Okay, right now up at Edgewood, I have 2 old footprints. I'm gonna date myself. One was an Arthur Treacher's. I don't know if anybody remembers that. And the other one was a Rustler Steakhouse. Okay, and right now we have, and I had both of them grandfathered, but the county asked me to knock them down. That was a long time ago. I had both of them grandfathered so that I could redevelop that site without going through all the fiery hoops that you have to nowadays. I have utilities there, you know. I kept active, you know, all the fees that I was paying to have my water and sewer. So right now, besides the service industry that we're looking at, you know, we're very much engaged with the food industry. So I have a couple nationals that are looking at pad sites at Edgewood. One of them is looking at the old Shoe City building out front, which would actually be divided into 2 uses. That will take a little bit of work between me and the county, but I think the county will be open to working with me. And the other one is where the Rustler Steakhouse was. We're looking at possibly resurrecting, putting a new pad site restaurant on that corner. All these are positives. All of them take, like, I've been doing it for 40, like, well, I'm gonna go into my 47th year here soon. So I know that, you know, I've seen the trials and tribulations of doing this, and I've seen how the industry and economics has played havoc on things. I've seen all the ups and downs of Edgewood, you know, at that shopping center over the last 46 years. But, you know, we're not going anywhere. I was just approached and asked about the playground out back. A lot of people don't realize that we actually own the playground, but we lease it to Harford County. Very lucrative lease. I get $1 a year. Okay, so but that makes it all above board, and I'm working with the county there, especially if I can get a early learning child care center at Edgewood. If I can, then we'll be working very hard with the county to try to upgrade that playground. And I've got lots of good ideas for it. I've been pitching some of them to the county and to the ownership groups. But it's something that we've done before. I'm probably the only retail developer that ever built a skate park. Okay, I was approached by a community, what happened was I threw all the kids off of our property that were skateboarding. And they said, we don't have any place to go. And I gave them the date and time of the next community meeting in their neighborhood, and I said, why don't you guys show up with your parents? And I said, I'll see if I can get it put on the agenda. And I did. And we were very successful. It took a while. It took probably almost 2 years. But I got the town to find a little spot where the kids could have a skate park. And we contributed to it. We helped them. And it was very successful probably for about 12, 15 years. And then all of a sudden, you know, the kids had other places to go, other things to do. But, you know, the town had them, they just repurposed it. So it's still a little mini park. It still has some skating, you know, areas, but, you know, we're open to doing a lot of things. So I am not fearful when I come to meetings like this, because I know that there's going to be somebody that's not very happy with me, and that's fine. I learn from people, you know, when people tell me about, you know, problems that they think, you know, I've created or I've, you know, allowed to take place. But, you know, we are an intricate part of the community, you know, like with the Sheriff's Department. I work very close with the Sheriff's Department. Every one of our shopping centers have a very elaborate surveillance system. I worried about that. I grew up in an era where it was cameras everywhere, cameras and Big Brother's watching you. But I found that the camera systems that I have, most people are aware of it. I put signs up everywhere saying that we have them. But you can almost go absolutely no place at Edgewood or Village Shopping Center where you're not surveilled by a camera. And all my camera systems are made available live streams to the Sheriff's Department. So any of the camera systems I have nationwide All the sheriff's department has to do is put a code in, and they can live stream the cameras right from the squad car if they want to. And that's a real benefit to the police department. So, but we're here, and you know, our shopping centers are in, you know, like, if you think about us building Edgewood back in the 70s, there was nothing in the area. You know, we were probably the first. And we were the first 24-hour-a-day giant food store, which ended up moving. And where Big Lots is right now, that was the first 24-hour-a-day drugstore anywhere. And so, you know, we're open to all kinds of ideas. So I'll open it up to questions, if I may.
Absolutely.
Comments, or
Okay.
ma'am in the back?
Thank you. Understanding that you have to be during contract negotiations and so forth, do you have a sense on whether any national or local grocery stores would be coming back to this area? I know we have Redner's and
Well-
Charles. I'm not quite sure what's happening with that other grocery store. But we used to have Mars, we used to have,
Right.
as you mentioned, Giant. Is there any prospects of and I know you can't be specific, but
Yeah.
is there any prospect?
Well,
that we have-
not at my properties, because my grocery stores have exclusives. So at Joppatown, I have Redner's, they're my tenant. I built that, I literally built that store for Redner's. And then recently, we opened up Geo Grocery Outlets at Edgewood. I understand, and I had no idea what the grocery outlets was like. We started, you know, doing a nationwide search for grocery stores. We found this company out of California that was looking to come to the East Coast. They have literally, I think now they're probably pushing 600 grocery stores in the country. Grocery outlets, what they do is they find a franchisee to take over it. The gentleman, if you never met him, you know, you have to go in there and ask for the owner. He's usually there every day. He works there. His sons work there. His wife works there. I mean, it's old school family grocery store operation. Sort of reminds me of the days when Gerspecks started. As far as Mars goes, I saw that whole thing I know Pete Deanna from years ago, and you know, and probably what little time there was, you know, that I was around prior to coming to work for David. My wife was a commercial produce merchant, so I understood the industry pretty well just from her perspective. But you know, Go is doing pretty well, I think. I buy some of their products from them. I hope that as many people as can. And the gentleman, since he is, you know, a franchisee, and all the Goes are, you know, if you got something that you think it would be better, just ask for the owner, ask for the manager, and talk to him. He'll listen to what you have to say. Redner's is doing really well. Contrary to what Redner's, you know, when we first had the Amish market, a lot of people know, some people don't, that Redner's didn't like the idea of it all. They thought that it breached their exclusive, and they sued us. At the end of the day, nobody won, except for the attorneys probably. I guess you could say the attorneys all won. But and it limited some things that the Amish could do, but the federal judges who were involved, because it was a federal case, said, no, this is not a direct competitive grocery store. And I don't think it is. I mean, I'm there a couple days a week. I have a satellite office out of that building, so I have my office downtown. I have an office in Carroll County where I live, and I have an office at Joppatown. So I see what happens with the Amish every time I'm there, and I'm trying to get them to expand. I'm trying to get them to, you know, and we do customer counts. I had no idea what it was like to run a retail facility myself. They told me, David told me, you can do it. You've been in the industry for all these years? I said, yeah, but I've never run one. So we have a young man that sits at the, I call him a young man because he's 65 years old, so he's considerably younger than I am. But he sits at the door, and on Saturday, we had 550 customers per hour. So somebody's coming there. Somebody's shopping there. But Redner's, I get, in our industry, we plead for tenants to give us their sales. So I get to see Redner's sales, and Redner's sales has never dropped at all the entire time that they've been there. They've always increased. They took a tremendous increase when Mars closed. I feel sorry for the shopping center right down the street here that hasn't been able to backfill that big space. So at least one other person in the room's on a committee that I helped the president of county council start years ago. What did we call ourselves? The Route 40 Redevelopment and Enhancement Committee, I guess. The president of the county council and I sat down, broke bread one day, and he asked me about being on the Worcester County Planning Commission, which I'm a Carroll County resident, but I was on the Worcester County Planning Commission. And we talked about things, and I said, look, let's get all the businesses together. That's what you want to do. And I think we started off, him and I. Then our next meeting, we had about a dozen. And sometimes we're up there at the, up by what I call the old Beta Shoe Factory, because I always date myself. What did we have up there last time? 200 or 300 people, at least? And up there, I want every shopping center to survive. I want every shopping center. I believe in what I call sustainable development. I don't think you should build anything new until everybody else is occupied. And what I've suggested at that meeting, and I talked to the president of Hartford Community College about, is that building that used to be the grocery store, Mars, I could refit that as a Hartford Community College satellite center in a heartbeat. I think that would be so if anybody wants to put that in the ear of, feel free, I'd love to be able to have them at one of mine. I have no room, so I'd love to see them at,
Is anybody interested in that space yet?
We have a few more questions.
so go ahead.
Yeah.
More questions.
Get some more questions.
I think, ma'am, in the back, somebody, yes.
I did, and I don't want to take up a lot of time, but some of it you kind of answered. But I just wanted to pose this question to you. You said that the Cornish company, the Edgewood location was their first.
Yes.
And my question is, in comparison to all the other facilities that you have, how does Edgewood compare as far as like the infrastructure and the upkeep that you're looking to achieve here in this area? For us as residents, we feel like it's been kind of neglected. So my question would be, how do you feel so it compares to the other places that you provide services to?
Well, most of our shopping centers are within communities. Just to give you an idea on Route 40, I have Johnstown Shopping Center, Edgewood, Havre Grace Plaza, Northeast Plaza, and Big Elk Mall. They're all within our portfolio. And if you look at them, they're all dated. Okay, some of them have been refreshed, some of them haven't.
Not as dated as the Edgewood.
Well, literally, that's the oldest. So, there's this age-old thing where, when do we remodel a shopping center? Well, the storefronts that you've seen remodeled there most recently are the ones where we had tenants come in. A lot of times, our philosophy is you don't dump a lot of money into the interior of a building or even the exterior of a particular storefront until you know what the tenant wants. I've seen that mistake made. I took over a development for Johns Hopkins University where they had an architect and a builder completely build out the entire building for specific use. When they asked us to take it over, the first thing, in the meeting, they asked me, what are you going to do with it? And I said, I'm going to gut it and I'm going to remodel it. And he said, well, we just redid it. And I said, yeah, but it doesn't serve the needs of the prospective tenants that we have. So a lot of times you need to build to the needs of the tenant. Like I said, I've engaged I think I have enough new tenants at Edgewood, and especially if I can backfill the 15,000 square foot old Goodwill and keep Big Lots there, and if I can't, get another National in their place, that will trigger a complete remodel of what I call the storefront fascias of the shopping center. Up until now, all we've done is minor. We did some column work, we did some painting, we did a little bit of fascia work, but we haven't done a tremendous amount of work to that shopping center, and I know it
This
needs
one-
it.
This one is not, this is along those same lines, but, so when you are renting, leasing to the tenants, is there anything in the contract that, speaks to the fact of upkeep? As far as it's that indoors and outdoors?
Well, the
Is that
tenant,
in there?
yeah, if I may, the tenants are required to maintain the interior of their own space. And we, and if, it's a little bit harder for mon pas. They have, and it's a little bit easier for nationals. You have some nationals that are very set in their ways, and we're constantly harping on them to make their stores more friendly and better. But as far as the exterior goes, I think we try to keep it well maintained. We haven't done a lot of enhancements there. There was some enhancements done along Route 40. Recently, I worked hand in hand with, well, I say recently, it was a while ago, but I worked hand in hand with Hartford County to put the new bus stop there. I worked very close with the county on that. And I think that was a benefit to a lot of people. But as we engage some of these national tenants, I think, we're gonna see a change, a refresh. In Chestertown, Maryland, after I had a series of new tenants sign up, including almost a doubling of the size of the Acme in there, in Kent Plaza Shopping Center in Chestertown, we engaged in one of those total remodels of the shopping center. Unbeknownst to me, I was invited to a town council meeting in Chestertown. Didn't know why. I said, okay, they've got lots of questions for me, we'll see. And the very first thing they did was they embarrassed me by handing me an award for me remodeling the shopping center. And I said, I'm embarrassed because it took 35 years to do it.
John, we want to
So,
do that. We want
yeah.
to hand you an award for when.
No,
When that
I don't,
happens,
I don't.
When that happens.
Yeah, if and when it happens, and I think it will. I think so. Things are starting to turn around within shopping centers. Matter of fact, I read an article on Wall Street not too long ago where a lot of these real estate investment trusts are going around trying to buy shopping center portfolios from developers like the Cordish Company. We're not interested in selling ours. But it tells us, and it tells our lenders, and it tells our tenants that there's a new revised future in retail centers. I don't think you're gonna see a lot of new ones built, but I think you're gonna see a lot of them repurposed, remodeled, and enhanced. So
Yeah,
another question?
Yeah, we have one or two more questions. Melissa has one.
Yes.
And then we need to
We
move
gotta
on.
be quicker with the
Yeah,
answers.
Yeah,
It's-
then we need
The
to
stories are
move
great,
on.
but just the answer,
Okay.
we're over 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
No, go ahead.
Melissa.
Okay, so just really quickly, when we had a lot of vacant spaces there prior to Mike Stanford getting grocery outlet, I did go down to, Baltimore to Growls Market,
Mhm.
and I spoke with them. I had that information, they wanted to be in contact with you all for us to have one out here. I did the same for Trader Joe's, but I did hear your, remark about just one grocery store. So my other, I guess, concern is, we have a lot to eat out here, but not enough entertainment. We have to go further out for entertainment. We have stuff for our kids, but not enough for us. So, bowling, skating, movies, we just lost Abingdon Movie Theater,
Yeah.
so we kinda want something for us. We're losing great restaurants. Is it what is our next step? Get that
Well,
place?
with regards to entertainment, I'll try to make it real quick for you.
Yeah, 'cause we need to move.
MCW Wrestling, when I say an arena, my vision, and this is mine right now, I've got to get them to buy into it, but my envision is if we can create that as an arena where, not only can you do wrestling there like they do, but you can do other sports similar to wrestling. And I even mentioned to them that, why can't you have a comedy club here? Or something like that. Because it would be, we're looking at it being somewhere between, right now it's up to the architects, but we're looking at it being somewhere between 1,200 and 1,800 seats. And if we could put an entertainment venue where you could have small mini concerts, comedy clubs, things like that into Joppatown, I think it would be a good fit. So,
He's gonna leave his card so that if you have,
Just one.
okay, last
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, just real quick. Somebody asked the flags at the Edgewood Shopping Center are tattered. Somebody asked if
weren't
could
they
be
just replaced?
Maybe they were, but I heard
I
about it
think, I
today,
think I
so-
just saw a bill from Haxel.
Okay.
So, Haxel, Haxel's our go-to company.
This is a serious one because this
Go
is
ahead.
coming from the business
And
owners.
make it quick, because we're already
I
almost
got
an
you. I'll
hour,
send him
and
the
I got a
other
lot to cover
questions.
tonight.
But right now, you have the Dollar Tree talking about closing and leaving both Joppatown and Edgewood because of the crime issues. And, you know, the manager at the Edgewood one gets a lot of complaints from customers and stuff about the lighting, the condition of the parking lot. The sheriff, he's put extra people down there. We're losing stores. You say that you all are in touch or want to be in touch with the community, but they're building houses here. They had an open house and people are saying, well, they weren't interested because of like what she was talking about, how things look and the services not being there. And one of the problems the two Dollar Trees are having is the kids coming in and stealing. So how soon can you get something like a roller skating rink or a multi-purpose entertainment thing? And are you all considering, when you go for business, like I said, you have those houses down there that need to be filled up. Mercy Hospital, they're opening a bunch of satellite centers. They've done Lutherville, Columbia. Their employees want to work in Hartford County. Nobody has contacted them and approaching them. So I just want to make sure that you're cognizant of these things.
So-
Because the county executive wants to revitalize the southern area, want to get things better economically, but you can't do that if people don't want to move into the area because they're like, well, there's not the infrastructure or the businesses there for us. Or if you have your current clients like Dollar Tree ready to pull out or bad-mouthing the center. Isn't there something you can do to help them with the robbery? I mean, the police are employing drones or something. Something has to give. It's gotta be cleaner.
Well, I will
The
be in
lighting.
touch with Dollar Tree, because I haven't heard anything from them.
Oh, I could-
Okay.
gate
And I will
manager's
be
name.
more than happy to contact corporate Dollar Tree and find out, you know, exactly what their problems were. And typically when I hear something like this, I ask the local municipality, police department, sheriff's department, to give me a crime report, because that tells me what's been going on.
Yeah, that
So
was the gentleman that was
I will do that for both of the Dollar Trees.
If you had-
I am aware of some crime at the Dollar Trees, and we have been an intricate part of at least apprehending people after the fact because of our camera system. You know, crime prevention is an ongoing situation, but I just left you my card.
Yes, I
Please
will
send me
email
a
you everything
detailed
else.
email, and I will share it with Raj from Economic Development. I'll share it with the county executive, with the president of the county council, and I'll talk to the tenants. Okay, this is what I get out of meetings
appreciate
like
that,
this.
and I
So
hear
I'm-
what you're saying.
There's some other folks
Put
here that
faith
would
in
really
you.
like to have your card.
Yes,
You know what, hey, why don't you leave them here and then
Right.
we'll make sure they got it.
I'll leave it on
Here's
somebody.
another
Yeah,
question
right
that
here,
came
right
up
here.
was, can we trust y'all?
John, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you very much.